What's going on, guys? It's Kyle with D2M Knives and Gear, and today we are finally ready to do the review on the EMP EDC Nymble. I've already done two videos on this. One was an unboxing, and one was an update before the review. So let me explain why I do that. Why I did that, because that's not normal for me. I usually do a first impressions, an unboxing, and then do a review. Well, if you saw the first video, the knife was very impressive, first impressions. Why? But I went to torque on the pivot to see about getting the action a little bit better. When I did that, when I was backing off the pivot screw, the scales were kind of coming apart with the screw, and so it was kind of weird. I was like, oh no, blah, blah, blah. So I contacted John. He helped me through. I talked to Lefty EDC. Basically, I just took the knife apart, put it back together, and it seemed to fix the problem. So I carried it, and every now and again, it would feel like not as near, like it's fucking smooth as hell now, which we'll go over in a second. It would feel smooth and feel okay for a while, and then all of a sudden it wouldn't. And I would take it apart and clean it, put it back together, it would be fine. I Loctited the pivot, and it wasn't the pivot. And so John reached out, EMP EDC, and was like, hey, we might have an issue here. Let's see what we can do. And so I was like, I don't really know what the issue could be because everything looks to be fine. So what he ended up doing is he sent me some hardware. He sent me washers, bearings, and then absolutely everything else. And he didn't have to do that, but he did. I got, this thing is the bronze frag pattern, but he also sent me in that package the Damascus backspacer and pocket clip with the screws. Like, I still have some bronze screws in this one, but he also sent me a full set of hardware for the blue. I just kind of mixed it up because I like the black and bronze look. But he was like, let's just try this. So basically what the problem was, it had to have been the bearings. It must have just been a weird set of bearings, because the bearings that he sent me after I replaced them, I no longer have that problem. It is absolutely super smooth, and it has stayed that way. So that is why it took so long for this review to go live, because I was just messing with it to kind of feel it out, and talking to John, and sent me those, and everything is hunky-dory. And I have to admit, guys, the customer service that I received for John has been top-notch. And then, of course, I've heard similar stories about that. So John is a stand-up dude. I also wanted to mention, before we really jump into this review, that he has got his new model pre-ordering tomorrow. This should go live on Friday the 13th. On Saturday the 14th, he will have his pre-order for the Thick Boy. Now, that's also the pre-order day for Jake's knife, which is the Avant. And I have to buy the Avant. There is no ifs, ands, or buts about the Avant. So I'm trying to maneuver stuff around so I can get that Thick Boy, but might not be able to do that. But definitely go check out. I'm going to have a picture right here of the Thick Boy. It's a freaking awesome looking knife, especially like right up my alley. He makes smaller knives, but he makes them in a way that it works with big hands. And the Thick Boy just looks fucking cool. So anyways, definitely, links will be down below for the website and his Instagram, so definitely hit him up and get ready for that pre-order, because I'm assuming that because of the success of the Nymble, that these will go pretty quickly. At least I hope so. So yeah. So the Nymble, now that we got that all out of the way, the reason that I bought this knife was because of Lefty EDC. Lefty EDC is way more on top of things when it comes to the knife community than I am. Talk to a lot of people, look at a lot of stuff, but Kevin's just that guy. And he was like, dude, check out this pre-order. We all need to jump on this. Titanium M390. Look at this design. This is John's first folding knife design, which he knocked it out of the park, especially for his first one. And we were all like, boom, let's do it. Well, at least I was. I don't know if Jake bought one. I think Jake bought one too. Yeah, that's right. So we all bought one. And then however long ago it was when we pre-ordered it versus now that we have them, I've had this for probably about a month now or so, or close to it. And man, am I glad that Kevin does what he does best. So the Nymble is a smaller knife. You guys know that I prefer the bigger knives, but I really appreciate designs that are smaller in the pocket and feel good in the hand. So the only way to accomplish that for somebody with my hand size is to make a finger troll, because this knife is a 3-finger knife for me without that finger troll, which translates into me never holding the knife like this. I always hold the knife like this. This knife is amazing in hand for even my big hands because of that finger troll. It is very, very generous, very nicely done to where I can grip this knife and feel so confident and locked in. Those designs for smaller knives are the only reason I have smaller knives. And we're going to put this against some of the other ones that they have in the collection just because of that. Another reason that I really, really wanted to try this knife is because of the fidget factor. So as you can see here, this thing has a hole deployment, it has a back flipper, and a front flipper. The back flipper is the light switch only. I call it a Vero style flipper because that's the first place that I saw it, and that's the only reason I say that. Vero style. So as you can see, nothing is really sticking out. This front flipper goes with the blade. This goes with the back of the knife. So I like that. I love that. Like, I usually like to do a push button with my flipper tabs, but on this, the way these flipper tabs are designed, it is so satisfying. And the way you don't even have to have a bunch of pressure to be able to get that knife to flick out, because the detent on it is good, but it's not like very, very strong. However, after I replaced those bearings and all the other hardware and stuff, the detent feels like it did get a little bit better. It's actually a little bit stronger than it was before, which makes me happy because I love a strong detent, sometimes too strong for most people. So really, really happy about that. But the fidget factor was another reason that I jumped on this knife, because I love having options to deploy a knife. Of course, my favorite is the reverse flick, which works amazingly on this knife. And one of the reasons it works really well is because of the design of where the hole is. It's a pill-shaped hole, but it has this bowled out area there, which is really cool. It's still very, very knocked down and no sharp edges. But the way my finger fits in there just really is kind of intuitive. I don't really have to think about it when I go to flick the knife out with a reverse flick, which is my preferred method. But I just like to be able to do that. I like to be able to do the flipper if I want, the front flipper if I want. It just makes it more enjoyable to carry on a day-to-day basis because I have so many options, right? I can even do a lighter flick with a back flipper. I don't know if many people do that, but I was just kind of playing with it one day and did it that way. Makes it just even more fun. Now, the thumb flick with the hole is definitely doable. It's a lot better now because, like I said, the detent was just a little bit lacking before I changed before he sent me the new hardware. But now, and this is the way most of them are apparently, because freaking Kevin loves his, and I've had numerous comments of people saying that theirs just are perfect. And so I'm pretty sure like this way, the way it is now is the way they usually came from factory. And the thumb, it's just, since it's such a small knife, the thumb deployment doesn't do it as well for me. I just don't ever use it. If I started to, I probably could use it, but that's the only one that I don't do very often is the thumb deployment. But I don't care because it has all these other ones, right? Makes it really, really fidgety. Let's go ahead and get you a good look at the frag pattern. They had a couple of designs on this pre-order that I took part of. It was a frag pattern with the bronze. You see the bronze hardware or the bronze screws right there. My backspacer and pocket clip originally were bronze, so that was the original, and then these are extra. And I love that colorway. Dark tie with bronze is right up my alley, and I loved it. I mean, they have a plain tie with the blue accents, and didn't give that one a second look because this is just sexy looking to me. So, but now that I have the Damascus on here, he kind of makes me happy. I don't think I ever would have bought that, but now that I have it on here, it really kind of just tickles my fancy. And I've got it, like I said, mixed up the hardware. I've got some bronze, some blue. That's just me. So, but yeah. Love the design. It's like since it's a smaller knife, but the actual shape of this and the shape of the blade are kind of my thing. I love this kind of blade shape, especially with a finger choil. The handle design, ergonomic. Yes, it's small, but because of the generous finger choil, it is absolutely melting my hand kind of ergonomics using it. And that's usually, if I have a finger choil, That's basically how I'm going to use it. Now, the reason I like bigger knives is because of the options of the grips that I have. Even though I'm a very light user, I still like to have those options. You really don't have that with a smaller knife. This is basically where I live when I cut with it. And so it is what it is. I mean, I could clip it back here. I just don't feel as secure with 3 fingers on this guy. But we'll go over size comparisons when I flip the camera around here in a second. You'll see some of the other ones that I've kept in the collection that are the same way. But this one is fidgetier than all of them, really. What else do I like about this knife? Okay, so whenever I first got this thing out of the box, I was super impressed with how sharp it is. They put an excellent grind on this guy. Don't know if I said, but this knife is produced by QSP. QSP is a OEM out of China. I've had a couple of QSP knives on the channel, and they've been decent. I was kind of worried when I heard QSP was going to be the manufacturer, because they've been decent, but I haven't really seen any of their higher end stuff. You know, and I would say a $280 knife or $290, whatever it is more high end. And so I was kind of nervous. And then whenever I first got that in and it had a messed up bearing, I was like, oh man, but that seemed to be an anomaly. And John took care of me. I mean, he was like, hey, well, let's see if we can fix it. Let's see if these bearings will do it. And they did, because this thing has been absolutely money ever since. So deployment is awesome. The actual closing action, boop, smooth. Now, actually, I don't know if I've seen anybody's that will drop, like it drops to your thumb, but I don't see anybody's who actually drops with the like gravity and the weight of the blade. It just kind of does that number and falls right down, which I don't mind at all. It's probably due to the smaller blade, because this is only a 3.1 inch blade, and then of course with the finger troll has a smaller cutting edge. So a smaller cutting edge for some is a deal breaker. For me, I would much rather have this finger troll than to not have it. This makes it a perfect, like an ED style. This is a secondary blade size for me, but it's a perfect little EDC knife. And to do those everyday tasks, like open packages, slicing some cardboard down, doing your regular EDC stuff. If you're looking for a heavy-duty work knife, you're probably not going to pick something like this, even though it's built strong enough to where it can probably handle most of those tasks, but you just don't have the blade length that you would probably need for that. But he designed this as an EDC knife. I think he nailed it. So speaking of cutting, let's go ahead and cut some stuff. I have a little piece of cardboard here. The freaking edge they put on this, oh, it makes a slicey son of a bitch. Like, I think when I first got this out, I was doing curly cues. See, and I've been using it, so I don't know. Yeah, see, it's still sharp to do those little curly cues. If I could actually hold it right. Oh. See, because even the use over a full month, sharp as hell, even for the paper, because I haven't done anything else to it, haven't stropped it, haven't done anything like that. See what it does to the paracord. Boom. The tough stuff. The twisted sisal rope. So we're going to go, just like on the other one that I kind of learned, I'm going to kind of bite in and slice. Boom. There you go. So the edge, there is no complaints on the edge of this guy coming from QSP. They did a fantastic job. And then I also want to show you the grind lines that they did on this flat grind, this saber grind. Come on. Of course, I had to do this after I cut my stuff. Got some stuff on it. The grind lines are really, really nice. I love the plunge grind they did back here. It does have a flat, but it's very small, because of the oversized kind of bowl that houses that slot for your middle finger flick. But it's just a beautiful blade. Now, also, I want to see if I can put up a picture here. On his next run, he's got some prototypes in for some coated blades and some other color variations for the Nymble. I'm not sure if they are done deal yet for all of these that you see in the picture, but he's going to have more options than just this version in the plain tie. Actually bring in some coated blades, so I'm really excited about that. I'm not a huge fan of coated blades, but so many of you guys are, because I hear it all the time. And so I think it's a very good I guess, idea for him to be able to be like, all right, so the Nymble was pretty successful. What can we do to make it appeal to other ones? Let's put a coated blade on there, some coated hardware, and he's doing it. So he's listening to the community and doing quite well. So now that we got the cut test out of the way, let's flip the camera around and do some size comparisons. I want to show you what this compares to the other knives that I've had in the collection for a bit that I love, even though they're smaller knives, just like this one, and get you a closer look at the EMP EDC Nymble. Alrighty, let's go ahead and before we take a close look at the bad boy, I want to show you the packaging that it comes with. It does come in a really nice box with his logo, which you will see here on the pivot, which I think is an awesome place to put it because it leaves the blade very sterile. Very good move, John. That was a nice touch. So very nice box. When you open up the box, you will see embedded into the box is your certificate of authenticity with some information. That is a very nice touch as well. I mean, that means you just won't lose it, which, you know, for me, that would happen. Shows it as the first production run, and this one is number 19, which is on the original backspacer that came with the knife, which is right here, which is that bronze color. There is also the bronze pocket clip, and then some other hardware. You get some stickers, just really nice packaging, which is very much appreciated. So one thing that we did not discuss when the camera was around was how does it carry, and the reason I did that is because I want to show you this pocket clip up close. So it's kind of a large pocket clip, but I like that. But it's very well designed because it is also very, very flat. And the retention that goes, the ramp you get, the retention that you have in your pocket carries absolutely phenomenal. Now, obviously, as you can see, it is a small knife. So yeah, it's going to carry relatively well anyway because of its size. But coupled with that pocket clip design, I really, really love the way this thing carried. Now, it doesn't sit ultimately, oh God, I can't fucking talk. Deep carry, but this is angled, see if you can see that. So you're sitting like right there. So it's pretty much deep carry without, sinking into your pocket. I love that because I don't have to absolutely have deep carry, but I like the thicker pocket clip. One of the reasons I do is because I like to be able to grab it right here and pull it out of my pocket. Some knives have very skinny pocket clips, like this guy, that just doesn't make it as easy for me. So I just love the design of that pocket clip. So get a good look at it. Frag pattern, satin blade, M390, frame lock. It's just a beautiful knife. I love the design. Get a good look at right there. So basically this frag pattern is done in a way that I really like. So the frag pattern is done all the way around it, but you have these areas here that are flattened off and rounded. Even the areas of the frag, which sometimes can be sharp, are knocked down. Very, very nice. There is your lanyard hole for you lanyard guys out there. Backspacer, which is of course titanium. You do have internal milling in the scales to reduce weight. If we can get a picture, yeah, we might be able to. You might be able to see that. Oh man, I don't know, but it's internal milling. Sorry, I can't see if I can get that for you. Which, of course, I did take this knife apart. The other design element when I took it apart to find out is the stop pin is basically, the stop pins are in the blade and it rides on these curved grooves. And so it's basically like the external stops that I really enjoy, which are on knives like, if I could get one out of here. On the Hinderer blade stops that come and stop in this area. Well, this knife, the pin is actually in the blade and it rides in a curved groove internally. So it is an internal stop pin, but I love the design because it's on both sides, which really helps to the rigidity of the knife without having them out here, for everybody to see and mistaken for thumb studs. I do like that. I like that quite a bit. Makes it for a really sturdy knife. The lockup on this guy is phenomenal. I've got this thing tuned now with the bearings that only took a few seconds to really get that done. And with these new bearings, it has stayed put and just absolutely I love carrying it. I really, really love carrying this. It was, it was kind of frustrating while I was carrying it that would be smooth and then not be smooth. But whatever bearings that were originally in it were just kind of faulty. And holy crap, this is the way the knife is supposed to be done. And I'm so happy for John for helping me with this. Just the customer service is amazing. So let's get a closer look at that blade and those grind lines. Oy, oy, oy. Very, very nice. He is going to have an option on the other ones too to be blasted, tumbled. So if you are one of those guys, you will have an option for that coming soon. You do have a over travel stop, which also over travel stop and lock bar insert. So that is very nice to see, especially on a knife with this price range. The lockup, like I said, is very solid. When I first got it, just a tad bit of lock stick, and I think that was also pretty normal. But even without changing the bearings or whatever, when I was flicking it like the next day after I took it apart and put it back together, I mean, the lock stick was totally gone. There is no lock stick. It's just super, super smooth. Let's go ahead and get some specs on this guy. So right off the bat, it's a smaller knife. You guys can see it in the circle. It's only 7 inches overall length. That's small for me. Some people that's not. So for me, that's fucking small. However, of course, with the design, fits my big hands, and it's got a 3.1 inch blade. It's got a 4 inch handle length, roughly 2.67 on the cutting edge. So a lot of people might not like that. I think that's plenty of cutting edge for my EDC task. As a matter of fact, I could do everything in my EDC that I do on a regular basis with this knife with ease, especially because of the sharpness of the damn blade. So slicey. Oy, I mean, it's not the thinnest in the world. It's 135 thousandths blade stock thickness here, and it comes to about 17 thousandths behind the edge. So, I mean, I've definitely had knives that are thinner behind the edge and thinner blade stock, but this thing performs amazingly. It performs like a knife that actually has thinner blade stock and thinner behind the edge. That's how sharp they made this. And with M390 steel, the edge retention is going to be there. Really, really like it. Let's see, I did the overall length and that. Let's look at the weight, because I don't know how much this thing weighs. And a lot of people are going to ask that. Full titanium build, but it does have internal pockets. 3.65 ounces. If that's too heavy for you, I don't know what to say, because I think it's an excellent weight. Of course, you guys know me. I carry a shit ton of very, very big knives. Just to give you an example, boom, the LBXL from Sean O'Connell. Those kind of knives I carry, so the weight thing just doesn't bother me at all. But for you guys who care about that, I think it's an excellent weight that will make you happy. Let's go ahead and put this up against some other size comparisons of knives that I like that are smaller but have the features that I like, such as the thumb hole and finger choil. This is the F5.5. As you can see, the Nymble might have it by just a hair. They're pretty damn close though, but finger choil, hole for deployment. Very nice detents. This is made by Riat. This is made by QSP. Another one that I absolutely love. This is basically my tool knife. This is the Quiet Carry Drift. Very similar in overall size. Probably got a little bit more cutting edge on this, but you have that finger choil, Vanex super clean steel, which is awesome. But this one is running on washers, so it is not near as fidgety as these other ones, even though it does still have a good enough detent for that thumb stud, and I can do the reverse flick. I love this knife. It's just not near as fidgety as these two. But the fact that it has Vanex is why it's around. It's just an excellent, excellent work knife. And then, of course, one of my other ones, this is the Fair & Forge Stinger. This one is produced by WE, another great knife, but as you can see, pretty close to the Nymble. Nymble is a little bit wider and a little bit thicker, which I like because it fills these big old hands out a lot better, which just makes it a little more comfortable. These two are going to be really, really close for the ones that go in my pocket for my secondary knives. I carry this when I know I've got to do cutting in places, especially in Alabama, that is wet. This is a tool knife for me. If I'm going just to about my day and I want a knife, to be my secondary, this is going to be tough. I will probably do a comparison between these two because I love these two knives very, very much. This one was a gift from Lefty EDC, which he had modified to make that choil just a little bit bigger because the original version of this does not have a big enough choil for my big fat sausagey fingers. But the Nymble absolutely does. Love the design there. So yeah, very cool, very nice, very well built knives. And the Nymble, yep. So happy that I went and did that pre-order on this first production run. Definitely go to his website and links down below and get on the email list for the next run of these, because he's going to have more options. These things were very, very popular. He sold these things. They're now out in the community. People are talking about them, and I don't think they're going to last as long as they did on the first one. I think they'll go pretty damn fast. And I'm very proud of John for what he's done. He did the Slender Man, which is an OTF. He's done this one now. He's got the Thick Boy, so he's working hard. He's not just, putting all of his chips in one or his eggs in one basket where he's just got the one model, and that's what he's trying to do. He's making more. He's let the creative juices flow, and I really, really am excited about what he's got going. Hopefully, I can sell something to get that Fat Boy. Because oh man, I want that Fat Boy. So anyways, guys, I really appreciate you stopping by, or the Thick Boy. I call it the Fat Boy because I'm a fat boy. It's a Thick Boy. So guys, stay safe in this crazy world that we are living in, and we will see you in the next one.